If trading away their closer wasn't enough of a sign that the Mets are indeed sellers ahead of the trade deadline, then dealing away one of their aces confirmed it. On Saturday, the Mets traded pitcher Max Scherzer to the Texas Rangers in exchange for prospect Luis Angel Acuna. So let's bring in John Heyman of the New York Post to talk all things Mets trades. John, thank you so much for taking the time today. So as you reported on Saturday, Scherzer agreed to waive his no-trade clause and was sent to the Rangers. So was this the right move for the Mets to make, and did they get enough in return?
Yeah, I mean, that's a complicated question. I wouldn't have started the trading at all. I would have gone for it this year, but you know what? It's not my money. It's not my gamble. It's not mine to say. I mean, once they traded David Robertson, that was really waving the white flag. So once that trade was made, we know they aren't going to be a playoff team this year. He was their best player this year. So after that, I think at this point, the selling makes sense. And the one question with Scherzer, of course, is that he would have been back with the Mets again next year. So they've not only weakened this year's team, they've weakened next year's team as well. We will see now how they operate this winter. There are a lot of great free agent pitchers, not just Ohtani, who's probably a long shot to leave the West Coast, but certainly Nola, Blake Snell, Urias. There's many that they could rebuild with, but it could be that it's a team waiting for 2025 for the most part. We shall see. In terms of what they got back, I think they got some good players back. I don't have any qualms about the fact they got rookie league players, minor league rookie ball players for Robertson. Marco Vargas supposed to be very good. Luis Angel Acuna is a big prospect. So I think they did well in terms of the prospects. So their future looks good. Present, not so great right at the moment.
Of course. And after losing Scherzer and closer David Robertson, many fans are wondering who could be next. So could we see the Mets ace Justin Verlander be the one to go next?
Absolutely. I mean, they're definitely talking to teams right now about Verlander, and I'm sure there is some great interest in him. He has actually outpitched Scherzer. I do think Texas, for whatever reason, preferred Scherzer. Verlander, I think, would be preferred by most teams. You've got to be able to match up, though. I mean, Houston is going to be a team that's going to be interested to bring him back, but they're only willing to go 1 year in the winter. Now he's got an extra year on that contract, so the money's an issue. Also, Houston has no prospects in the top 100. That may make it difficult for the Astros, but that's the most logical team. Obviously, you've got the Giants and the Dodgers possibilities, but you never know. Some small market team may take a flyer, particularly if Steve Cohen is willing to pay it way down, and he obviously was willing to do that with Max Scherzer.
So you wrote in the New York Post that this Mets team is a team in transition. So where do they go from here, and what sort of changes do you see them making now and going into the offseason?
Right. Well, they're looking at the future. One top-ranked executive did use that phrase to me, in transition, and I should have picked up on that because it was before this Scherzer trade. And it is pretty clear now what that means, that they're really looking to rejigger things. I do think there are a lot of teams that just ride it out a little bit too much. And obviously Steve Cohen and company saw things they didn't like. And you can understand that, to be under 500 with a record payroll, 100 games into the season, that's got to be very discouraging for the owner of the team and the guy paying the bills. So they're looking at the future more than the present. I think that's probably obvious. The concern I have is it going to affect next year as well as this year? Obviously, the Scherzer trade does affect next year. We'll see if they try to recoup that, to try to make up for that in some way. As I said, a lot of big free agent pitchers. Maybe they go for one or two of them to try to contend again next year.
All right, John, thank you so much for taking the time. All eyes will be on the Mets and, of course, your Twitter feed ahead of the MLB trade deadline. Thanks again.
Thanks, Emma Kate.